It is Thursday, May 23rd, 2019. The theory of our ascending wedge triangle in Bitcoin before the big surge up has been delayed, at least while the top formation tries to discover if this is going to be a big correction lower or not. Let's dig in. If this kind of thing is interesting to you, be sure to subscribe for this daily episode of the 24 Hours of Bitcoin. As usual, we'll pause here for a look at our disclaimer, and you can pause the video to read through it all. It's not financial advice, just market observation. So every day we go through the same three indicators and a couple key charts to try to determine what Bitcoin might be doing next. So here we are right into the 15-minute chart, a little zoomed in, but since we had this break lower, I wanted to take a look at what's going on with the RSI on this time frame, and then quickly go over to the on-balance volume on this time frame so we can see that there was more on-balance selling here and more on-balance buying in this last little bit of this. And so as a bull grasping at straws, this is what we're looking at to see if there could be a bounce here and a turnaround. And then we'll zoom out to see if this is going to keep sliding down. So the MACD indicator crossed over here nicely on the 15-minute bar. We do have a divergence and a positive cross here again, but weakening off as the histograms are easing and the green and the red line are coming up to cross again. So let's zoom out on these indicators and take a longer term view. So on the 1 month view, so we're looking at the 4-hour bars, we're still seeing weakness. The histograms are still negative. The green is distancing from the red, so this is still showing a negative turn here. The negative cross here, a little bit of a positive cross, then the negative cross here again. This is really turning out to be a key indicator. Every time we're seeing these things break and turn out of a 1, 2, 3 top formation, we're getting confirmational crossovers in our MACD indicator before the trading signal. This is really turning out to be fantastic. Let's go out to the 4-hour view, same 4-hour view here. And on balance, we're seeing that the on balance is negative still on the 4-hour time frame. We're not seeing a turnaround of new volume coming in that's going to indicate that this is bouncing off of this area. Not yet. This must turn over to the green side as this is going up higher. And we have to see the MACD indicator crossing over and the histogram going positive, or we're going to see lower prices from here. If we go to the relative strength index and go out to the 4-hour time frame, over the past few days, we're watching this divergence where RSI was weaker in the top. We had sort of a double top, and we were watching RSI strength as this was closing in to the point of a triangle for the potential for a blast off or a breakdown. And we were watching for the RSI to either tick up from here or tick down. And sure enough, it's been ticking down at the same time this top formation crossed. So we really did have indicators that were telling us what was going to happen over this period right now, and they're still looking soft right at this point. Let's zoom out to a bit of a longer time frame, clear this stuff off. It's still not turning around and giving me any indicator that there's a divergence in the RSI that's going to be picking this up from here. When we go to the 1 year view, again, the RSI has to pick up and go stronger, and it seems like it's fading off here. If I give this a trend line, it's pretty close to breaking that right now. So everything is looking bearish in these indicators. Let's zoom out for the on-balance volume. Also really good volume here, less volume here, less volume here, now turning negative. That's bearish. Go to the MACD indicator and zoom out. We see the crossover here as this double top occurred. So that was bearish, and the histogram is going more strong, so more bear coming in. The 1-day view, there's our crossover, definitely a bearish look right now. Now we go over to the Ichimoku cloud, just for verification. We can see the negative twist of the cloud here to a more bearish view. We see that we've poked through the cloud to the downside as we broke the 1, 2, 3 top formation and the uptrend line. So all of those things are really important. I also want to thicken up the conversion line here so we can see it, and the baseline so that we can see them, and pay attention to where that actually crosses over. So when we have this crossover and all of these things confirming, it's just another stitch in the fabric that shows that, for me, it looks like this is going to be continuing down from here. And of course, when we go to our 4 charts a few days ago, over the last week or so, we were watching this uptrend line, commenting it every time it's coming down to touch this trend line, saying that this is what happens in a top formation that could be an ascending wedge triangle. The fight goes on. It looks like an ascending wedge triangle, then it looks like a top formation. And when the trend line broke on all 3 or all 4 of these, that was a key indicator. The fantastic thing for confirmation is that prices came down and broke that trend line, then they retested it and fell down from there on all 4 charts, pretty much. This is the only one that didn't do the retest, but Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin all did that retest at the same time after they broke the trend line we were watching. So on the fail of that retest and breaks lower, it's more confirmation of the sells. And I'm certain that when I go back to the videos on May 20th, we could really see just before the break that all of our indicators were showing bearish divergences at the same time. So by going back over those and reviewing this, you start to get the confidence in following what those indicators are telling you when they match these chart formations. Now let's go look at what the alts are doing versus Bitcoin. Here's Bitcoin versus Tether, Litecoin versus Bitcoin on the 1 minute view. Let's go to the 30-minute view so we get some perspective on this. So versus the alts, they're all holding a little bit better than versus US dollar, just because Bitcoin is going down and Litecoin is going down at the same time. So relative, they're staying pretty stable right now. We'll have to watch what this is doing, and the key right now is to if you are watching for a turnaround in this, would be to continue to watch these indicators, watch for these price levels, and again, you always start small and work your way into it. Before we finish up, let's go take a look at Bitcoin dominance. If I go to the 1 year view so we get perspective on this, we can see here that from April 1st to now, Bitcoin dominance has been on an uptrend. It poked above this parallel line, and now it's made what could be a bear flag right here. So as we zoom in, and then we zoom in again, and zoom in one more time, that's too much. Then it's this flag here, this whole section right here from the 15th, 13th of May, 15th of May until now, watching Bitcoin dominance in this range is, it leaves it open to question. As soon as it's breaking above this range and staying inside our parallel channel, we know that alts are probably going to be going down relative to Bitcoin. But if this is to break down and come out of this channel, Bitcoin dominance is suffering, and it's probably going to mean that altcoin prices are going to boom. If Bitcoin dominance drops and we have this altcoin market cap versus dominance going higher, then we know altcoins are in a really nice bull market as soon as those two things occur. So we're watching for those closely. Another thing here is the overall altcoin market cap, which was making an uptrend, made a top formation and has pulled back since the 21st of May. Where's the 13th? 13th of May was really a key day for the altcoins turning around. So they must stay above these levels and continue upwards in our altcoin market cap. If we go to the longer term views, we can see this is the beginning of a bottom formation on some enormous trading volume that we've never seen in all the history of the alts. We're seeing more volume right now. And so I think that these bottom formations are it, and we should be watching for the bull market. And so with this kind of huge amount of money coming into the markets, I don't believe that the Bitcoin pullback is going to be right down to those Fibonacci's that we were talking about. So at the beginning, we were talking about, let me clear this off, talking about the Fibonacci coming back to the 50% level, which is a pretty standard measurement tool. The most recent move from the top to the bottom, and look for the 50% level, which would be about the $6,000 level. And it wouldn't be unusual for prices to do something like this and then continue on the trend. It is something that we'll be watching all the way to see where this pulls back to, where is the support and resistance that's going to hold this where it is. as it's pulling back. So from day to day, we'll continue to monitor this. We'll continue to watch our indicators and see how this pulls back to each of these different resistance levels, watching our indicators for that kind of divergence that's going to show us support in the market and things turning around. If we are in the bull market of all time, it's going to happen. This will turn around. All of these will catch a bottom versus the US dollar. And it's important to keep that longer term perspective and go into the 1-day view for each of these markets and look at the bottom formation that we are now consolidating in. This is an uptrend that is huge. Here's a bottom formation in Stellar coin that is just starting to set up. We're just starting to see these big pre-pump patterns that are just laying out. In Ethereum, we're also seeing a massive 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, a huge ascending wedge triangle. We've only just poked out of it. Sure, it could pull back another $30 or so for Ethereum prices, and it would be fine for it to come back and test above these support and resistance levels from the past. This would all be good. If Bitcoin came down and tested the $6,000 level, this would be ideal for the continuation of the uptrend. Same with Litecoin coming from 86 down to $60 or $70. This would be an ideal retest. Stellar doesn't have as much room to come back on those retests, but all of those pullbacks and retests are quite healthy in the market. It's only if you're trading margin and you are doing high leverage that you need to zoom into these 5-minute, 1-minute bars and chew your nails. Anyway, that about wraps it up for today. I appreciate you guys being along. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you tomorrow on the next episode of the 24 Hours of Bitcoin.